Today's bike check is the 1987 General Osborn Pro. This was a very sought after bike at the time period because it was a new foray for General bikes. Up till that point, General was making inexpensive scooters and some fairly low end freestyle bikes. But March 1987 hit, and that was this issue of Freestyle magazine. And this ad showed up. This is R.L. Osborn with a General uniform on, the unstickered bike in the background or beside him. Nothing in the catalogs, nothing in the magazines. And this is pre-internet. There's no secret photos or something like that in the industry. So that bike had the mystique. In March 1987 was no different. It seemed like that was pivotal as far as kind of the next era of freestyle. Later, this is the ad then that was later in the showrooms and so forth. You could order the bike with 48 spoke wheels or mag wheels. Came with a Paragon 3-piece crank. This was a full chromoly frame. So this was a better bike than the the Fred Blood Pro, which is the model I had in 1987. This probably would have been the one I really wanted. And later in life, I mean, this was probably 10 years ago now, I saw this bike, in this case, it was a frame, fork, wheels. It was primarily a bike, and saw it on eBay, and I think I bid on it. And, these things go crazy money and different things. And I'm like, I don't need it, So at any rate, a few years later, probably not a few years later, not too long after that, I was visiting a friend of mine who's also an avid bike collector, a local freestyle enthusiast here in the Hagerstown area. And this bike's on the shelf. I'm like, I think I bid on that thing. And he's like, yeah, well, I'll need you to help me build it up because, I bought it as, parts. It wasn't a complete bike. It was less cranks, tires, just odds and ends. The front brake wasn't there. I don't even think the rear brake was on the bike. At any rate, so I count this bike in my collection, but not my bike, because what happened is my fellow collector brought the bike over here and said, why don't you build it up and display it, and I want to ride it, or I want it to display the bike, then I'll come get it. So that has never happened, yet to happen. I've sent him pictures of the bike. He's appreciated it and seen the bike. A buddy of mine, Eric, rode it up at the Harrisburg meet a few years ago. So the bike's got some miles under it. It is not babied. It doesn't have $500 tires or anything on it. So you can actually go ride it. So that's the story on the General Osborn Pro. It is spec'd out as I have it, with Paragon Q2 bars, which were crazy bars. I did surfers and bar hops and things like that. This would not have been sufficient enough for that. The monkey bar arrangement they have on that's kind of crazy, but it's unique of the time period, and it kind of displays what was relevant at the time. That was the 1987 era. So the spec on this bike is not factory. Like I said, this bike would have come with more traditional handlebars. At the time, he had a Rotor 55 stem on the prototype bike. And it would have been the highest end bike General had, and it was. The gray color I thought was cool just because that was what was shown in the original RL ad. So as far as the overall spec on the bike, this has got the Q2 bars, Tech 77 levers. I've got an ACS 45 stem on it, which was the straight model stem. This bike would have come with a rotor at the time period, but we put a gyro on the bike just to make sure the stem could be at a reasonable height and the bike would be rideable as far as how it was. The rotor really raises the stem really high and makes it a little bit awkward to ride and unsafe, especially with a quilled stem. So this has the later Diacomp brake on it, which the Nippon goes away. There's some copyright infringement or things like that, or proper name of a country or a a factory or whatever it is that you can't put nip-on the brakes anymore. The other standout feature on this bike is the RL Edge wheels. These are hard anodized, eyelided 48 spoke rims that they brought out as a whole package, 48 spoke wheels. And this one also includes the RL Edge hub, which is the first free coaster hub. Super nice. It was a machined aluminum shell on it, and it has basically Suntour coaster brake guts that has no brake shoes. So you get the effects of a coaster brake in that when you roll backwards, the pedals don't pedal backward, but you still have a freewheel. You still can spin the pedals backwards and so forth. So there's kind of a close-up. Weinman made the rims, hard anodized finished, eyelided, pretty high-tech spoke wheels. And other than that, there's Stewie. Other than that, the bike was spec'd a lot like the Fred Blood bike that I did have. This is a reproduction double pinch redline flight crank that's on the bike. Again, I didn't build this up as like a specific bike to be a catalog build or anything like that. Just a good rider bike that had a lot of the components on it. This has a later model Dominator seat on it. It's not the original style seat post that had the flutes on it, which Redline is producing again. Has the Peregrine seat clamp, which was classic. The frame was kind of beefed up compared to the Fred Blood model. I had this plate on it, as well as that circular gusset on the back of that. So I feel like these frames held up more, but classy looking frame with the chrome and half paint job. And this is that gray. It's kind of like a gloss primer color almost. Had the splash graphics. I mean, things are classic when you talk about the 1980s as far as how many different motifs there were and so forth. So this bike encompassed a lot of that. So RL really promoted this company. They did the Stomp in the States tour for 1987, and Todd Anderson, Fred Blood, a whole host of riders went around, and they really poured a lot of time and money into promoting this brand. So Freestyle was kind of weaning out by this time. The kids that started when they were young teenagers were getting cars and discovering girls and all that stuff. So they're trying to usher in the next segment, and they marketed these bikes pretty heavily. A lot of the companies did, just trying to keep it alive. So that's that. The RL Osborn Pro from General, 1987 bike that's on permanent loan to my museum, thanks to another local collector. That's the bike check for the day.